If you're just joining us on WION World is One, here's where things stand as of now. Russia's defense ministry says that more than 200 people from Ukraine's special units were eliminated while capturing off the Gostomel airfield. Meanwhile, Ukraine's defense ministry has said that more than 1,000 Russian soldiers were killed so far in conflict. The Kremlin says that Vladimir Putin will send a high-ranking delegation for talks with Ukraine in Minsk, but said that it considers demilitarization a critical part of Ukraine's neutrality. All this was in response to Zelensky's proposals, where he asked the Russian president to talk.
Хочу еще раз обратиться к президенту Российской Федерации. По всей территории Украины идут бои. Давайте садиться за стол переговоров, чтобы остановить гибель людей.
Ukraine's army says that Russian forces are advancing on the capital. Ukrainian soldiers have started taking up positions around Kyiv. This after Russian troops were seen in northern suburbs and gunfire was heard near government buildings, raising fears that the capital could fall on the second day of the Russian attack. The Ukrainian President Zelensky has called the Russian assault a repeat of World War II. He says that Europe can still stop Russian aggression if it acts swiftly, and proposes that the Russian President Vladimir Putin join him at the negotiations table. In an emotional appeal, Zelensky told the armed forces, "You are all that we have."
Как настрой?
According to diplomats, the European Union has now agreed to freeze Putin-Lavrov assets. This comes after the second wave of sanctions on Russia that were announced recently. The European Union says that Vladimir Putin was looking to destroy Ukraine and that his actions were comparable to those of the Nazis in World War II. Meanwhile, NATO has convened its emergency summit, with Stoltenberg saying that Russia is shattering peace. In fact, we just heard the remarks. Meanwhile, the US Embassy in Kyiv again called on US citizens in Ukraine to leave immediately if it is safe to do so.
These are, of course, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada and Norway.
Et donc, ce soir, nous avons décidé, je ne reviendrai pas sur la liste qui vient d'être détaillée par Monsieur le Président et Madame la Présidente, très claire, qui est une première réponse.
Let's now get you some more global reactions. The United States says that it no longer has a diplomatic presence inside Ukraine. The small group of diplomats who remained have been relocated from Kyiv to Poland.
The European Union. As always, these measures are close.
Now, for more on these developments, political analyst Dr. Michael McKay is now joining us live from Moscow. Since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, Dr. McKay has been chronicling Putin's war in Europe. Dr. McKay, my first question to you, given your expertise, is it in a sense a déjà vu moment for you with Russia's recent attacks on Ukraine? How do you view the developments in Ukraine as of now?
Yes, it is déjà vu, because what's happening here is an expansion of a war that's going on for 8 years. So it's seen before, because we've seen it every day for the past 8 years. We're just seeing it to a greater degree and in different places than it has been in the past, which has been in the south and southeast of Ukraine.
Right. Just to follow up on that, let's talk about the change in tone from Russia after attacking Ukraine. The President Putin says that he's willing to join talks in Minsk with Ukraine. Could we see a de-escalation in your viewpoint?
No, because when he says Minsk, he's referring to the Minsk agreements, which were signed in 2014-2015. But since then, Belarus has been occupied by Russia and has ceased to become an independent country. So Minsk as a location is no longer a possibility because it's no longer a third party. Russian troops have invaded from Belarus. So Belarus itself is a party to the conflict. So that can't be it. And when he says Minsk talks, what Putin means is not de-escalation. He does not mean ceasefire. And we know that because he's not respected the previous ones, which were made under Minsk. So no, this is not a means to de-escalation.
Right. Now let's talk about Ukraine's take in all of this. It says that it is preparing for a Russian assault on the capital, Kyiv. All this as Russian troops close in. Others say that Russia will try and overthrow the Ukrainian government in a matter of days. What, according to you, are Putin's intentions as of now?
His intentions are to destroy Ukraine completely, to destroy its independence, its democracy. His intention, his wish, is to conquer Ukraine.
Just elaborating on that, so is this sort of a conversation that Putin has started about holding high-level delegation talks in Minsk with Ukraine going to lead to any kind of dousing of tensions in this conflict?
No, it's not. All Putin hopes to do is to force the Ukrainians into a one-sided ceasefire so he can consolidate whatever gains he's made. It's a strategy of his war of conquest. It is not a good faith attempt on his part at de-escalation at all. Right.
Now let's talk about what's going on in Vladimir Putin's mind as of now. Does Putin have any fear of kind of global isolation? We've heard of sweeping sanctions being imposed. Is he bluffing world leaders at this point by appearing unfazed?
No, because he has not seen other Western countries being true to their word about what they said they would do. So he doesn't believe that they will do it now. The only thing Putin fears is the Ukrainian people, and that's why he's attacking them. No, he does not fear these other Western leaders and sanctions.
Finally, just wrapping up our discussion here, has the West at large failed to present a united front and deter Russia? What lies ahead in this crisis? Will weeks of diplomacy and now deterrence change the status quo? And will this conflict spark a wider confrontation with Western powers?
Absolutely. Other Western countries have failed. They have failed Ukraine, and they failed to realize that Ukraine is the West. Ukraine is, in fact, their leading member. And I think the time for diplomacy is past. I think the time for now is for unity and for making a plan to defeat Russia. Time for diplomacy is past.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us at this hour, and thank you for all your insights and joining us on WION World as One.
Thank you.